Hi, welcome to week 5. We are working this week on chapter 7 in your textbook, Definitions and Descriptions. And you can see the chapter objectives as follows. Learn why definitions and descriptions are important in technical writing, similarities and differences between definitions and descriptions, and also why they work really, really well together. Guidelines for informal and formal definitions and for expanded definitions. An entire essay or document of various sorts might be just one definition of one thing, and you'll be learning about that as you go. Learn the ABC, abstract body and conclusion format for expanded definitions, guidelines for descriptions, and ABC format for descriptions. And finally, you have model definitions and descriptions for you to consult in the end of the chapter. Okay, so here we have an example. Recently, mGlobal has decided to change its insurance provider, and Carrie Camp, Vice President for Human Resources, has decided to take this opportunity to revise the packet of information about benefits that is given to all employees in the United States. Although employees will continue to receive the detailed information about benefits from the insurance provider, Carrie knows that employees have asked for a quick, easy-to-read overview of the benefits available to them. She decides to create a set of information sheets that both define and describe each of the benefits in the new package. And if you have been employed by a large company in the past or currently, you've probably seen these packets, these maybe 3 to 12 page information packets offered to employees to help them explain the differences between different insurance providers. And it can be a fairly daunting thing, so it is a very kind thing that somebody working in the organization is going to offer the employees a nice little packet so they can easily understand, if they have a 2-year-old child and a 12-year-old child and a medical condition, which insurance provider do they want. So definitions and descriptions do very important work out in the world. Definitions, descriptions, process explanations, and instructions are the types of writing that people often think of when they think of technical communication. This chapter and chapter explain these 4 elements of technical communication. Definitions and descriptions are closely related. Process explanations and instructions are also closely related, with the difference being how the reader will use the document. So within an organization, lots of different people might be engaged to write something for the rest of the team that they're working with, or for the rest of the company that they're working with, or even for customers, clients, patients, and so forth, to explain some really important information that everybody needs boiled down clearly, but with some technical detail. Definitions and descriptions can appear in any part of a document from the introduction to the appendix. They may also be created as standalone documents like the Model 7 on pages 208 to 214 at the end of this chapter, so you're going to want to check those out. During your career, you will use technical terms known only to those in your profession. As a civil engineer, you would know that triaxial compression test helps determine the strength of soil samples. As a documentation specialist, you would know that single sourcing allows the creation of multiple documents from the same original text. When writing to readers who are unfamiliar with these fields, however, you must define these technical terms for your readers. You may also have to describe technical objects to people who have never seen them before. And the distinction between definition and description, these can sometimes be a bit confusing because very often you're using a little of both together. Because what you're trying to do with these two things, definition and description both, is you're trying to take something that is not familiar to your readers and make it easy for them to understand and reference and follow up on or ask questions about. In fact, you can consider a description a special type of definition that focuses on parts, functions, or other features. So the description emphasizes physical details. and descriptions often open with a sentence definition, or sometimes more than that. Okay, anyway, so this is just a bit of a leap into your chapter that you'll be studying for homework 5. And now I'm going to give you a little glance into homework 5. I'm just going to show you this. This is only for one group, but the only thing I change here is number 2. Each group has your own organization that you're working with. So your tasks for this week are read and take notes on Chapter 7 in your textbook. This chapter is about writing definitions and descriptions. And of course, you work for the organization that you have been assigned, which is hopefully fairly close to what you intend to be doing with yourself in the future, or at least a decent enough simulation for you to be getting on with for the semester. The homework assignment is to write an open letter containing a definition and a description of a piece of equipment or procedure that is currently in use at your organization. You're strongly encouraged to invent your procedure or piece of equipment in order to avoid plagiarism. This was a problem in my technical writing class last semester, that more than a few students chose an item that already exists, went to an online description of it, and stole it. And that is an enormous problem. We are not allowed to do these things, not as a professional, not as a college student. So I'm suggesting here, be as creative as you like. Invent something. Something that is maybe doesn't exist, but plausibly could exist on that note. I am a big fan of science fiction writing. And there is a brilliant trilogy called the Mars Trilogy, written by Kim Stanley Robinson. And if you're familiar with it, you know. Each of those, 500 to 700 page novels describes the planet Mars in such extraordinary detail that anybody who reads them feels like they've already been there. Brilliant use of technical writing, but of course it's a science fiction novel, so no, people are not currently living on Mars and living interesting political and emotional and technological lives. But those novels are so plausible that readers have no trouble at all imagining themselves in that life. So be Kim Stanley Robinson. That's what I'm saying. If you choose a procedure or piece of equipment that already exists, then you are required to cite your source. Any details you borrow from any source must be cited in APA style in the homework. And you have to have a signal phrase that states the publication details. You have to have an in-text citation that gives the date of publication. In addition, APA style strongly prefers paraphrases and summaries to quotations anyway, so try not to have direct quotations, but if you do, put them in double quotation marks. Avoid using any more than a few words from any source. Put these words in quotation marks. Source types may include anyone's speech, any publication, any internet source, and any student work. The stuff will eventually be turned into Turnitin.com, and it just snaps it up like that and tells the entire world where you got your stuff. But beyond that, even in the homework, I think if you borrow things, it's going to be pretty obvious, not only to me, but your group as well. So do not do that. Okay, and also, big piece of advice, make sure that your thing is a very small thing so that you can fully develop your definition and description in the word count given. For example, last semester, I thought it was a little troubling that one student had decided to describe a tractor. Well, a tractor is an enormous thing. There are an awful lot of little bitty pieces of equipment that make it up. Meanwhile, another student had chosen, I think, the rollover bar on the tractor. Anyway, so I'm saying, pick something small and you're likely to have a much better product because it can be described in a very short space very, very well. Okay, your audience is going to be your employer and your coworkers. Your purpose is to explain to them the function of the tool or procedure, which is to say, what does the thing do in a couple of sentences. Second, how to identify it and visualize it working. I imagine that should take you a couple of paragraphs. And third, to make a recommendation about the safety of using this piece of equipment or procedure. So this is a big deal. Your conclusion, right, is the point why you are writing about this is a safety concern. Is this product or item safe for use in your organization, or are you going to recommend a change? Okay, your selection of definition and descriptive language should not only give readers a clear image and understanding of the item, but also lead them well to understanding why the item is or is not safe on the job. Okay, so make sure that you have that focus. Make sure that you address whatever that safety concern might be. And why are you writing? You are writing in response to a company memo from your employer or supervisor. Dated August 15th, 2018, you are expressing your concern about a safety issue. You're requesting, you're not expressing. Your supervisor or your employer is expressing a concern about a safety issue, and this person is requesting your expert opinion about the safety of this piece of equipment or procedure. In the letter, she or he has asked you to define and explain the thing, write a description of it, and give you a recommendation as to whether the organization should continue to use this piece of equipment or procedure or replace it. Okay, and you're writing to all staff. It's an open letter, so it's not just to your employer. It's to your employer. It's to all staff at your organization. And staff includes both technical and non-technical personnel, some of whom must be able to communicate your findings to interested parties outside of the company. Okay, so that is the job that you are doing. I'm asking for 600 to 900 words. Please have at least 600 words. Please have no more than 900 words. It's one of the beauties of technical writing. It is supposed to be succinct. You are supposed to do a whole lot in not that many words. Okay, so all your words must do work. And in addition, I have this other thing. I need you to use at least 2 analogies in your definition and description, and practice the visualizing test with a friend before you submit for your peers. 2 analogies, which is to say, analogies are best used when you are describing something unfamiliar to your readers, and the purpose of your analogy is to make it familiar. So make sure that when you are offering these analogies, you actually are taking something that is unfamiliar to most readers and you are offering an analogy that makes it readable. Okay, so that is your work for week 5, and I look forward to reading it. Thank you.